Hello, what is up, Race Brain Hyrox Show? It's your boy, Matt Mason, and I am here today with the OCR man, the coffee man, the hybrid man. Some say he is the Renaissance man of our niche little population. Some of you know him as the host of Race Brain, of RMR, the mad scientist behind all the training. We got Rich Ryan. What's up, dude?
Wow, your intros just get better and better every time. I'm like, man, this dude's cooking right now. He's gonna keep this
Dude,
thing rolling. He's working on these intros,
we're
and I
cooking,
can
dude.
tell. And I can tell.
We're cooking. We're cooking. What's up, Rich? How you feeling, man?
Good, good. As you mentioned, yeah, Coffee Guy was on with Brian earlier today. That was a fun little chat. You got that Resolute coffee hat rocking. You just get yourself a little coffee, some dad stuff, man. What is it? Like,
Dude, you thought I was joking? It's literally on there.
it's on
It
the thing.
is. It's on there, dude.
What kind of beans you got in there?
Today I got the Ethiopian honey.
Ah, very nice.
Yeah, man. I got my we're obviously now but day of recording this, we're 3 days out from Hyrox. I already got session 1 in for today. I got one more, and I was just contact napping with little PJ. And for those parents out there, you know that contact naps send you to a different dimension. I woke up and I was like, oh shit, I got to be on my A game. So we got that Resolute flowing.
Is contact nap, that's just like a name for cuddling with your baby?
Yeah, so like he's asleep on your chest, and then you fall asleep too. It's like the best thing in the world. So,
Is it cool?
oh, dude, it's awesome. You don't know sleep until you've like napped with like a little human heater, just like right there. It's great. It's great.
Well, you got your coffee now, ready to rock, because
Dude, this is
stuff to talk about.
We got a lot of stuff to talk about, but dude, podcast extraordinaire this week. We got station tips 1 through 4 on RMR. We got world's toughest mutter of recap and favorite events over the last basically 13 years. We got coffee talk. Now we got Hyrox talk. I mean,
Too much.
dude, no wonder Amy married you, man. Find you a man that could do it all. Can do
Just
it
talking.
all.
Just talking to him like, I was thinking about that sometimes. Like, man, people are just gonna be sick of hearing the same stupid stuff I'm talking about every single day. But here we are. We're letting it roll.
Dude, talking. We got an extra special surprise for y'all coming up on the episode. So if you needed a little teaser to stay tuned, I mean, y'all are gonna stay tuned anyway because we got Rich here. But if you needed a teaser to stay locked in, stay locked in. So we got a lot to talk about today. So on today's show, we're going to flip the script a little bit. I'm gonna ask Rich a couple of interview questions as he is a Elite 15 hopeful. So we are going to interview him slightly, although we won't go as in depth as we have with some of the others, because if you want to know what Rich has been up to, you should just listen to RMR and you will
There's
get
content
a good
everywhere.
There's content everywhere. We will do a little bit of a preview of this weekend because we do have a big race coming up in Chicago. I will briefly recap this past week, and then we're going to talk a little CrossFit because we just had the Rogue Invitational over the weekend, and huge news, arguably the biggest name currently in CrossFit who is not past their prime has said that they are going to come over and do a Hyrox, which is huge news. So lots to talk about today. So real quickly, we did have a couple of races this past weekend. We had 3 races this weekend. We had Hyrox Paris, we had Hyrox Manchester, we had Hyrox Mexico City. Where do you want to start, Rich? We're just going to recap the results just real briefly.
Let's hit Paris first.
All right.
Love it. Where me and you hung out. Really bonded.
That's right. That's right. We did really bond in Paris. Top 5 men in Paris. We had Jeffrey Voisin with a 58.21, George Gurney with a 61.13, Hyde Wiersma with a 61 Heedy. I'm so sorry, Heedy. If you're a listener of the show, please forgive me. 61.59, Louis Osseler with a 63.16, and Kevin Ferrutin with a 65.08. Anything stand out to you here? Seemed like a pretty fair course, all in all.
For sure. I mean, I think Joffrey did 2 races this day. I think he did the open race as well. Let's verify. I mean, that's what Dylan was chirping about, thinking Joffrey's going to do some kind of double situation, but Joffrey's taking care of business.
If he did, I don't see him. If he did, I don't see him in the results.
I didn't verify. That's just Dylan flapping his gums.
Oh, he did. Oh, wait, no, that's pro men. I was trying to see if maybe he did doubles. Oh, he did. He did do doubles
Oh, he did
with a
doubles.
man named, he did doubles open with a man named Vincent. I'm not even gonna, that's a jacklash. Not quite Rich Leo territory. By the way, that is your nickname given to you by Raw Dog himself, Rich Leo.
Rich Leo?
Rich Leo.
Is there some, should I be offended by this?
No. He's got a nickname for him and Deebo, if I can find it. But yeah, so 54 on the open doubles. But seemed like a pretty fair course. I mean, that time for Joffrey is about, I mean, this is obviously Joffrey is consistently right around the 15. That's a standard Joffrey men's pro time, I believe.
I think the projection on RoxOpt for Joffrey in this race was a 59 low. So yeah, just overperforming. I mean, he's run 50 in the sub 57 a couple times. He didn't.
Oh, dude, I didn't think about this, but as a participant in, or as a I guess a business partner in RoxOpt, you can literally run the RoxOpt on your competition. That's crazy.
I thought about that. I have thought about like kind of really digging in and doing it, but John's been making these graphics after the race and putting like the projection versus the actual finish, which has been pretty cool. So you can kind of see how the courses did really play out. Hidi, or maybe it is Hyde, I'm not sure. He was Wurzma. He was the fastest pro finisher at Nice outside non-elite 15. He was the top guy. I've been looking at him kind of to make a jump this season, and we haven't quite seen it yet, but he is a name.
Oh, that's interesting. Yeah, you're right. 59-12 in Nice.
On a day like on a day like that, on that course, 59 something.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, when Dawson was 60 something, right? Like,
yeah,
and now
60, 52.
And he's 58 low now. I was expecting Hidi to be a fringe Elite 15 guy, but we haven't quite seen that leap yet. And I think he did run an Elite 15 Estocolm last year. So yeah, it's just
looks like he also ran 2 races that day. So I'm wondering if that has something to do with it. If they did, I mean, obviously I don't know when they ran the races, but it looks like he did doubles men's as well. So gotta imagine that probably had something to do with it.
All right, it's a choice.
All right, top 5 women: Eva Rodriguez, 6702; Rebecca Howard, 6911; Marie Domeru. I'm so sorry if you're listening, Marie. That's a 7047. Kimberly K, 7216; Melanie Carrera, 7358. So not bad. Eva Rodriguez is a name that we've seen before, but these seem like pretty average times. Fair. Pretty fair course. Any thoughts on the women?
No, I'm just saying, good for you for going top 5. When I'm doing these international ones, I stick it at 3 because I'm going to screw up probably 2 of them. And going into the unknown, you're not afraid. So
yeah, I mean, I'm terrified. I'll probably receive some hate mail in my DMs, but that is the price of being a podcaster, I suppose. On to Manchester, top 5 men: Eugenio Bianchi, 5921; John Carlisle, 5958; Jamie Pratt, 6107; Turker Alici, 6147; and Mark Dean, doubles world champion with Jake Dearden, 6148. Again, nothing too surprising here. I'd say this is a pretty fair course. That's kind of in the middle for Eugenio. I will say the men's open times in Manchester were wild. I think it was 17 dudes under 57. So I thought maybe it would be a pretty fast course. However, this is pretty middle of the road for Eugenio. He has gone faster. He has gone slower. And that's about an average time for Mark Dean as well. So nothing really of note there.
Yeah, that's interesting that the Open ran that fast. Generally, these courses in the UK in general are not fast. I think outside of Glasgow, we saw a fast course a couple of years ago, but when you're in Britain and Ireland, they are slow. They're overcrowded. They're crazy. But yeah, wasn't there?
Let me do a quick correction, to be fair, because I am mixing up my races. Manchester did have 14 men under an hour. So that is true. It was 14 men under an hour. Pro doubles men, though, where we have been seeing, granted, we are talking about doubles here, but they times have been fairly steady throughout just like the non-elite races. It was 11 times under 57. It was 18 times under 58. And it was 22 times under 60, which is, pretty impressive.
It's just a lot of dudes out there. There's just a lot of athletes there now, right?
Yeah.
I think it's just a bit of the obsession that they have going on there, and the participation that. But I think they're just running fast. John Carlisle has a time. John Carlisle has a PR of 57 something. He caught that Berlin course. So I wonder where he is on the Elite 15. And Eugenio, yeah, this is like pretty like standard for him. I would say this is a good result from what we've seen from him in the past couple, like 4 to 5 races. So yeah, this course seemed fair.
Yeah, definitely. I'm looking it up for you. I do. John Carlisle is currently 32nd behind the one and only Rich Ryan.
All right. How about that?
All right, on to the women. Top 5, Alice Schurer, 106.01. Leanne Sheehy, 68.27. Catherine Brownlee, 68.55. Rachel Moody, 69.04. Rachel Greenhall, 70.09. The big story out of Manchester on the women's side wasn't necessarily the pro race. It was Lucy Davis-Fitt, latest BPN athlete, breaking the women's open world record with a 59 low. I don't remember the exact time. I think it was 59.09, something like that. And she is
03. Yeah.
59.03. No disrespect to Lucy. She is running her first pro race next month. So definitely someone to watch out for. She has been a force on the doubles circuit. She has now run a time faster than what we saw Joanna run when she ran her first open. So, Lucy Davis could be someone to watch out for when she races. So something to keep an eye on there.
For sure. I was interested that she ran open here. I just thought that she would jump into pro, but I guess she's just testing out the duration, all this running. But
she had signed up before she was connected with Nick Bear. I think if she had been hanging out with the BPN guys beforehand, I think she probably would have just gone right into it. Those BPN guys are serious.
She was down there when we were down there. We didn't cross paths, but
yeah. For comparison, Joanna, who obviously ran a blazing fast time, 59.28 in the latest elite race in Amsterdam, her first solo race was a 60.30. And again, to Rich's point, these UK courses are not exactly known for their speed. So a 59.03 is a fast time, and someone definitely to watch out for. Any other thoughts on Manchester before we finish up with Mexico?
Nope. That's it.
All right. Mexico, the people that are crazy enough to do Hyrox at 7,200 feet. Rich is in here doing altitude conversions on 5,400 feet. I don't even know what the altitude conversion is on 7,400 feet, but it's got to hurt. On the men's side, Aldo Loanzo Marquez, 64.49. Mauricio Martinez, 72.29. Marco Zavala, 72.54. Miguel Marquez, 73.19. Royer Salmaran Julien, 73.37. On the women's side, Karen Vanessa Lara Castro, 72.51. Elena Ruco Chaz, a friend of mine and listener of the show, 74.55. Nayeli Garcia Vasquez, 78.49. Jillian Crespi, 79.26. And Paula David, 79.41. All I would say on this is, if you're hearing these times and saying, man, these sound slow, I would encourage you to keep in mind this race happened at 7,200 feet of elevation. This is serious. This is serious commitment to Hyrox to do Hyrox at altitude.
64, like a 64 high at 7,200 is really fast. If this dude showed up at like Anaheim, he'd probably be pretty competitive.
Yeah, no doubt. That is, I mean, honestly, like beyond impressive. I had a couple people who DM me were like, dude, we should have gone to Mexico City. And I'm like, you need to do just an ounce of research on what the elevation there is. We're not putting up crazy fast times.
You might take a W and get a qualifier there, but man, you're gonna earn it.
And get altitude sickness at the same time.
For sure.
All right, man. Moving right along. We got a big race this weekend. We've got Hyrox Chicago. It's looking like it's going to be pretty stacked on the men's side and the women's side. We got our boy Rich. He's in there. We got our boy Deebo. He's in there. Magida in there. Colin Stiefer in there. Samuel A. Bear in there. Austin Tenselhoff in there. I mean, we got some people.
Nick Riker's out there.
That's right. Nick Riker's going to be in there. We got Jack Bowers in there.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we got some people. It's going to be a fun race. Do you want to talk about you first, or you want to talk about predictions?
Hey, you run the show here.
Yeah, but you're my special guest, man. I mean, you're a special guest. All right, let's talk about how you're feeling, and then we'll make some predictions, and that'll lead in pretty well to the special guest. So, obviously, you are you're not out yet. You are currently sitting in 29th. The roll down, for what it's worth, at Hong Kong actually got farther than I believe what you, Jack, and Bracken thought it was going to get to.
Ended about 21. We should talk about that.
21.
Too. We should talk about that list. Or I guess we can talk about it next week. Don't matter. Whatever.
Yeah.
But the list of the Hong Kong athletes is now available. Everyone is registered.
Going off of, I don't know if you've got it in front of you. I'm just going off memory. Kent, not going to be there. Mm-hmm. Dylan, not going to be there. So that's 2 spots. That's how Jake and Graham got in. Hunter, not going to be there. I did not see Avon's name, and I don't think I remember seeing Toby's either. Is that right?
I think that is right. I do have it up. So yes, Sebastian and Sadiq got in. So Graham, Jake. So John Wynn, I think, was the last one who's in the 15. So 4 people didn't. So yeah, what is it? Kent, Hunter,
Dylan. Basically everybody in the U.S. except for Pelayo and Rylan.
I guess Avon is it. Yeah, he must have.
And then Avon must have said no. Yeah.
And yeah.
I mean, 20. I mean, 21 though. I mean, so and the line. You know, you gotta imagine, like, Hong Kong obviously is literally on the other side of the world. The next 2 majors are going to be Vegas and Europe. So you got to think that some of these dudes are going to come. But just for the sake of conversation, currently 21 is at, 57-41.
Mm-hmm.
And honestly, I mean, even for you trying to break in, I mean, I don't know if some of these times look like they've updated. There's still 4 guys. Yeah, 4 guys in the Elite 15 with 57 O's.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess let's start there. I heard you say on Rocksoft, which I appreciated, because I think that you were being a little conservative, but I think you said 57-30 was a realistic goal, but I think you got it in you. I think you can break through.
Jeez, that's so nice. I mean, I
am the rich apologist.
That's true. You always have been. That is, but it's still a PR, right? To be to come out here and be like, I want to run 56-30, like, for sure. Of course I do. And I've run some numbers, and there is a world where that is reasonable, and I don't have to PR in every single category. Like, looking at a Rocksoft that was like, okay, this and just being conservative on the faster side of things, and if I can run 5:45s through it all, like, yeah, that we're looking at 56 20s or something like that. But that's never happened, right? So I can't necessarily be like, this is what I need, where I think I can be and where I will be. Chicago's course looks nice. That straight line burpee broad jump, that I think is like 20 seconds compared to what I have done in the
easily
for the grid type setup too. Those things are like slower.
And
like
farmers is set up better for you too.
Farmers will be better. Lunges should be a little bit better. The run course is beautiful and like just so nice. But yeah, like I think I need to have 2 times in these in 57 low, right? Like if I realistically, like I'm looking at wins time. Like if I need to be like 55, 57 flat, have 2 of those, right? So I either need to run 55 in Chicago to get there, or I need to run 57 in 2 of these next 3 races, like 57 O's. So yeah, it seems realistic. Like when I run these numbers and I'm looking at the whole thing and like how my training's been, I'm like, yeah, this could work. So we're just gonna push the sled really hard, dude. We're just gonna.
Yeah, I'm curious. I'm curious from your perspective because, like, obviously, there is a difference, like, between you can't really compare elite times to regular pro times, and there's 2 reasons for that. One, you're racing. So we all know that racing is different than time trialing. We don't need to get into that. 2, the courses are just different. You're basically just running. You don't really have the rock zone when you're on the grid. Do you remember your last non-elite solo race?
It was Madrid, which the sleds did not go well.
Yeah, it was Madrid. But what did go well for you in that race, and I think it sounds like based on what you've talked about for your training, you've kind of gone back to, I don't want to say the basics, but you've kind of gone back to like some of the basics of running and then strength training in that race, despite the fact that the sleds didn't really go well for you. You still held a 3:45 average pace, which I imagine, if I had to guess, you'd probably say that you're in better run shape now than you were then. No,
I just got crushed on those sled, like those middle 2 runs. Yeah, let's pull it up. I haven't even looked at Madrid because I just basically wanted to
we
forget
forgot about
that
it.
it
We
happened. Yeah,
blocked it out.
I
We
just didn't even want that to
blocked
happen.
it out.
But yeah, my run after the sled pull was 4:03, right? Like I was really, really hurting after the sleds because it was taking everything that I possibly could to move those freaking things. So yeah, let me see what this total time is.
But despite that, I think that's kind of my point is like,
right.
you had a 4:03 in there and your average pace was still 3:45. And
With the rocks,
you
let's
got to
see
be
about this.
you got to be in better run shape now.
Yeah, I would say so. I would say my run shape is pretty comparable to that, probably a little bit better. I'm definitely
You're not going to be
strong.
jet lagged.
Not going to be jet lagged. That's for sure. So yeah, I think that's fair. I think the running should come along fine with that. I'm just gonna run these times really quick.
We got those center sleds.
Hey, we're hoping for some sleds that are gonna be cooking. Last year at Chicago, the sleds were good. That's what we're hoping for.
Yeah, we won't talk about the Chicago sled snafu of 2023.
Which one?
Where we tried to point out that the men's pro sled pull was too light, and by the time they realized it, it was too late, and so then they decided later in the day that they were going to make it fair. They were also going to pull a plate for the men's pro wave as well. So everybody ran, elites and non-elites ran the race with, I believe the men's sled pull is 340. It's either 345 or 350. So everybody ran it with 300.
Stupid. Come on.
But yeah, time is the best way to determine Elite 15.
So that's what we're going to do. We're just going to run a really fast time this weekend. We're just going to go hard.
Yeah. So, I mean, it sounds like you're feeling confident. I mean, I am curious, like, it is a time trial for you. Like, you are best served to operate as a time trial because you need a time. But at the end of the day, Rich Ryan is a competitor. Rich Ryan loves to compete. Rich Ryan loves to talk trash. And there are going to be people there that you like to talk trash to. David Magida, Nick Reichert, Marcus Wallace. So are you going to be able to block out the noise and time trial? Or if one of them makes a move, are you going to try to cover it and get into racing?
There's going to be just a point where that needs to happen. And hopefully that there is the opportunity to use each other to help pull each other to a fast time and to work together to a certain extent. But it just depends on where, right? Like if the back half is going to be where the engagement of racing for me is going to have to happen. But in the first part, probably not in the early pieces. And there's going to be like certain ways that I'm going to attack the first half that I just need to stay in my own lane. But the back half is going to be like whatever I can do to scrape and claw my way to a faster time for sure.
And how are you feeling about the back half? I mean, I know you have talked about, well, you made a post the other day about like the race never gets easier. It actually hurts more. The more fit you are, the more it's going to hurt. In theory, you should be in better shape. You should be fit. You should be ready to go. So you know it's going to hurt. Like, how are you feeling mentally about the back half of the race? I don't want to say that's been a bugaboo for you because it's a bugaboo for everybody, but like, are you feeling strong, confident, like you're ready to like enter the pain cave and sell out on that back half?
So usually when things go wrong for me, it is somewhere in the middle. Like the back part is generally okay. Lunges are never spectacular. So I'm never like really fast on one end or really slow another day. And wall balls are kind of that way as well. I think I just kind of fall into mediocre land on both of those. And generally, if the race is going okay, it's the middle part. It's the burpee broad jumps into row into farmers. If I start losing time there, that's where things really could kind of go sideways for me. So the back portion I'm confident in. I do like those stations. I really like wall balls. And if everything goes well through that middle, and which is contingent on the front as well, I got no problem with the back. Like I'm ready to hit that. I'm feeling confident about it. It's gone well in training. I've expanded my training quite a bit as well, just to make sure that I am spending a lot of time. So I'm feeling the general fatigue that I'm hoping to replicate on race day. So yeah, I feel okay about the back.
All right. Well, then we this is not, in the grand scheme of things, this is not important for you, but we are running a half race sprain RMR relay after. And when we asked when we asked you what stations you want, you were like, burpee broad jumps. That's me. I got those. So you're obviously feeling good, and you're probably going to be, I mean, just looking at the times in Toronto, knowing the little trash talk going on the side, you're probably going to be at the burpees with your man Deebo. And that dude, for as big as he is, showed in Toronto that he can absolutely fucking burpee broad jump. So are you hoping that he's going to pull you along there, or what are the thoughts on the burpees? How are we feeling about the burpees?
He pulled me along. I have the world record in the burpee broad jumps.
Do you? I thought it was some dude in Europe who was taking a step and burpeeing and then posting that he did them in like 147.
That's a different station. That's the walking burpee
the walking burpee broad jump. That's right.
The walking burpee broad jumps. We all know about the walking lunges. But in the relay in Dallas, I was like 118 or something like that. So if Deebo thinks he's going to pull me along, he's got something coming. I will blow myself up. I think Deebo burpee broad jumps.
I think that's a good point for us to bring in the special guest joining us now from like 10 minutes away from me. We got half of raw Deebo. I told you about Rich Leo. We've got half of Rich Leo. Now we've got raw Deebo. The man himself.
Goodness. That's Deebo's music just hit.
From Southern Milwaukee, Marcus Wallace. Marcus, what's up, dude?
Was this planned? I was waiting to be called in.
Your music hit.
I was about to leave.
You showed up. The crowd's going crazy.
We just heard glass shatter, like Stone Cold Steve Austin style. Marcus, with 2 Miller Lights, the Milwaukee way, smashes them together and enters the podcast stage. Marcus, what's up, dude?
Not much.
How you doing, man?
I'm not in a fancy studio like you guys, clearly.
Dude, Race Rain, man. High value production. Shout out Patreon.
We'll see what we can do for you. We'll see what we can do for you maybe down the road.
Yeah, dude, this is two Race Brain appearances in a month, Marcus. We might have to get you on the payroll. Side note, there is no Race Brain payroll.
No payroll.
I was on the actual Race Brain too a while back.
That's right. He came with solutions. That was when we fixed everything for Hyrox. They didn't take any of our.
I did think we should go back and re-listen and see if there was anything close.
Dude, that's what I appreciate about Raw Deebo. They're solutions oriented, Ben. We got Marcus bringing solutions. Dawson had a clipboard of notes of proposed solutions. These guys, ideas, man.
You just let him rip for a while too. That was
dude. He was on a roll. I was just letting him go, man. He was out there preaching. Just let him talk. Marcus, are you gonna pull Rich along, or is Rich gonna pull you along? I think that's what the people want to know.
I might tell Rich my strategy, but I can't say it here. Rich should hopefully be pulling me along.
We'll see. Deebo and I are going to be we're roommates. We're going to have a real strategy going into it.
We're getting after it together. We're going 1-2 together. That's the plan.
That's what we've done in our only race together. We were 1-2, right?
It wasn't close, but we were 1-2.
We were 1-2.
It was not a joke, ladies and gentlemen. Dawson did a workout with Deebo on, I believe it was Saturday morning, and I wake up to a text of literally on Deebo's door. It says, "What's Rich doing?" So that was not just a joke that Marcus was using to be funny on a podcast. It actually is true. It does say, "What's Rich doing?" as he's in there.
And for all we know, Deebo's been a big Froning fan for a long time. He's just branding mayhem in there, and it just happens to cross over to this day.
I did put it up there as a joke, and I did send it to Rich, but it did not come down. So I guess it's not all joke.
All right. Well, we are gonna talk CrossFit, but since we have Marcus here, we will kind of finish up on Hyrox. So, Marcus, you were sitting in the waiting room. You kind of heard Rich talking, heard a little bit of Rich. I don't imagine Rich is going to give his plan away on the pod. He might share with you. You guys might whisper to each other on Friday night as you're going to sleep what your plans are. But Marcus, how are you feeling coming off a big win in Toronto where they just disrespected our boy, just straight up disrespected him? We're announcing winners when he's like 2 runs in and he said, "No, it's me. I'm coming. I'm taking it." How are we feeling? We're in Heat 1 this time.
I'm feeling good. Heat 1. Yeah, they
top seed. Top seed
top
in
of the list this time.
That's true.
Top seed.
The tables have turned.
Are you more worried about Rich Ryan or Ryan?
I think I'm in the Heat with Ryan.
Yep.
So that's
we got to get this adjusted. I was on it 0 times. Now it's Rich, Ryan. Don't forget.
My man's going to show up with his ID, and the poor volunteer check-ins are going to be like, "You're not Ryan." I can already see how this is going to go. Rich competed at World Championships last year, and these poor Chicago volunteers logging community service hours are going to be like, "Who the hell is this?"
I've shot off some emails. I'm hoping to get this thing resolved so it doesn't happen to be that way, but I haven't heard back. We all know how customer service operates over there. So
yeah. Well, Marcus, if it makes you feel any better, I'm a Hyrox ambassador, and I have quite a few people who have signed up for their first race in women's doubles or men's doubles respectively, who are in a mixed doubles heat with a mixed doubles time, and they have not heard back yet from Hyrox on getting that fixed. So the seeding thing doesn't just happen to elites. But anyway, I digress. So you're feeling good off the back of Toronto. I guess I'll ask you the same question I asked Rich. Again, you are a competitor. You talked about how you're a competitor, and but you need a time. You already have 157. Seemingly could do more in the tank. I guess I'd ask the same question of you. Like, there are big names in this race. You've got Rich, you've got Megiddo, you've got Colin Stiefer, 3 guys that competed in the World Championships last year. We've got Samuel A. Bear, who is a strong racer out of Canada, who I believe in his first race did a 60. And then this in Toronto, I believe broke sub 60.
He fell apart. He fell apart a little bit on the Toronto race.
Samuel, if you're out there, Rich just said you fell apart. So if you need some locker room,
check the tape. I'm just calling it how it is. He was super aggressive, but by the
chalkboard material.
I'm just saying, facts are facts.
So I guess, Deebo, how are you thinking about it? Are you going to kind of run your own race, or similar to Rich? Like, if a move is made, are you going to try to cover it and hope that it pulls you along?
Yeah, I've been thinking about this. I mean, last time I ran a little angry and it seemed to work out, so I might have to create some stories in my head for this one. I do have to get revenge on a few of these guys. They smashed me in Anaheim last May, so that is one thing I'm thinking about. But really, I think it's just run your own race. I came out slow last time. I've looked at all the splits, even if I was in the heats with those guys in Toronto, and they would have at least had like 20 or 30 seconds on me at a certain point, and reeled them back in pretty quick. So I'm not afraid to let people go. I think sled pull is one of my stronger ones, so I'll get there. I'll see how I'm feeling, and then start picking it up. But yeah, I think the best way to do it. I mean, I would rather run fast and be top 3 than win in a slow race. So I'm hoping we all run fast.
What are you weighing these days?
I sit between 205, 210. I got down around 200 for a while, but I did not like that.
Clydesdale division.
It's a big man. It's a big man pulling that sled.
Yeah, and he just said he's going to be angry. Watch out.
He's going to try to be angry. He's all happy after Toronto.
I don't get that angry, but
he's like, it's no problem. And this is really like thing is that's why we call you Deebo, not because of your eye thing. We got to set the record straight. That no way. It's just because you're a mean bully. And that's why you have this nickname of Deebo. You're just a mean, angry person. And you just exude it.
That's what I'm going for this weekend.
Hell yeah. Well, after Toronto, that's where Raw Deebo was born, where Dawson pulled you along to the burpees, and then you just absolutely stepped on the gas pedal with the 57. Now we got Rich Ryan. I mean, are we gonna have like a Deebo Ryan situation after this? Like, what are we thinking? You guys gonna pair up?
We're adversarial. Adversarial from here on out.
Buddies now, but yes, we'll
be roommates.
May, hopefully,
but no partners.
Both of you watch your Achilles as you guys are tiptoeing around that room.
Man, Deebo,
I've already torn my Achilles, so I got the extra
reinforced one back there. Did you see in Rogue? We will talk, and I don't know where you want to go, Matt. But you see the people they were doing that bail jump over, and people started rebounding it. And I think 2 people popped their Achilles.
It is very hard for me to watch because when you see it and when you've had it, you know exactly what happened instantly. And yeah, it's the exact same thing happened to me. You look behind, you think something like hit you in the back of the leg, but yeah, so I knew right away. And yeah, that was I thought it was cool that Rogue actually did acknowledge it and change the event. I mean, it took 2, but at least they tried something.
They did change it eventually. I didn't catch.
They changed it to burpees and then a get over. So it was the exact same event, but you added in the burpees, so they couldn't really rebound.
Because I think it was Danielle Brandon just started doing that. She was the first to do the rebound, and I was like, oh man, she's kind of rebounding there. Then Gabby McGowan did it for 1 round, I think, and popped it immediately. Yeah. I haven't seen confirmation if she has ruptured it. Did you see?
I think she definitely did. I did not see for Henrik, but
yeah, I just saw a post on Henrik that he was saying that he thinks it was. That's a bummer.
Yeah, it was not great. We will go there in just a second. Wrapping up Chicago. This is going to be tough, and I already thought about this. If you guys would give me real answers or not. But Rich does have to blend this line of he is a podcast host that talks about the sport and he is in the sport. So I think we'll get an answer out of Rich. We'll see if we can get an answer out of Deebo. We do have some names in this race. So we want to do some predictions. We'll just call it podium. We won't do we're not going to do a draft, but we want to do predictions of the race.
Predictions will be hard. If you take Deebo and I out of it,
I can't not ask.
Deebo and I were going 1-2 in no specific order, but I mean, Magida he's showing he's going to be able to compete. He's going to run the similar type of race that Marcus is talking about. Like he'll be there in the middle and the back. I think Isaac Sanderson has a lot of upside. I don't think he showed his best in Toronto. I think Samuel, if he adjusts a little bit as well, he is certainly a guy who could be 59 low, 58 high. Collins, of course, same kind
Isaac
of thing.
Isaac did run a 59 mid in Anaheim too.
In Anaheim, so. Right. Yeah. So he's right there. Riker says he's fit. Who knows? There's just a lot of really strong dudes. There's guys like Keith Hardwick out there who could be pushing towards 60. All
right, so let's change the question. How about this? Instead of picking
one person, Rich didn't say. I think Grayson Kilgore. He did go sub 60.
Grayson Kilgore. Yes. He's only done one race, right?
He signed up, so I think that's someone to watch out for. And yeah, I think you got to give respect to Colin. He is the defending Chicago champ from last fall. I mean, there was a major there, but in the actual pro race. So I think those are two to definitely keep an eye on.
All right, so then let's how about this? How about a more fair question that won't make it awkward for the two of you. So 57-57 won Toronto, plus or minus to win Chicago.
Going under.
I think we're going way under. I think there will be 3 to 4 people under that.
Wow.
I was going to say, I actually do think that this race is setting up to be sure. I don't think that there's really any super fast U.S. races. My U.S. bias is showing. However, if there is one that is designed to go fast, it would be Chicago. To Rich's point earlier, it basically works out that it is a perfect 500 meters. Granted, with the ins and outs, the runs are going to be a little bit shorter than a 1K, but you're going to make up for it in the rock zone. You are going to get 2 long straightaways, which is nice. It's like 2 50-meter turns, so it should go well for the runners. Deebo, you're a runner. Rich is a runner. Magita's a runner. Steefer's a runner.
Did we lose our host?
He's back.
Am I back? I would not be shocked if we saw a 56 high coming out of this race.
I mean, that'd be great.
Yeah, it was fast last year. They got that 80-meter burpee broad jump again. I think the farmers carry change from last year, so it looks like
they fixed the
like an out and back.
Yeah, it's like an out and back with some turns. Still.
I mean, who knows about sleds? But if we get fast sleds, it should be a fast day overall.
If we get normal sleds, it should be fine, right? But who knows? If it's like if these sleds are stuck like these what were the races we saw, like the Spanish races, and what was there was another one that was really slow recently.
Italy's really slow.
Yeah. If we get it Italian but we don't know how this kit is holding up. How'd they feel in Toronto?
They felt the same as they did in Anaheim. I mean, I don't push too fast. I definitely take breaks there. Sled pull felt fine. I think that's a good thing about US. I feel like we never get really, really bad. I mean, since they changed the sleds, I think we're going to be pretty consistent.
Yeah, and to your point on the other show, Rich, like this is what the 5th race they've been used in. So in theory, they shouldn't be beat to hell.
I don't know where that tipping point is. Right? Is it like
true? No one does.
7? Is it 4 races, and then all of a sudden
last year they rolled out new carpet for the year at Chicago. There's nothing that says they don't roll out new carpet this year for the season. Nothing says they don't.
That's true.
I think we did a nice crisp fall day too. I think humidity plays a big factor. So,
and it's a big open venue where like Dallas is kind of like it feels like lower and tighter. So it does feel like hotter in there. Chicago's big and open. Yeah, you're right. I mean, this is the course, man. This is why they're here for Worlds for a reason.
It is the course. Like out of all the U.S. courses, if there is one that is set up for Rich to get a time and for Marcus to get a time and for all of them to get a time, it's going to be this one. So should be exciting. I'm going to go with a 56 high. Stay tuned until next week when we do our Hong Kong preview to see how it shakes out. Let's switch gears because if you listen
real quick, celebrity over under.
Oh yeah.
My first one
I've been playing celebrity over under on Hyrox Times in text, and it's been fun.
First one, Tommy Lister Jr., aka the real life Deebo. Some physical stats on this man. He's 6'6", 300, but he's a D2 national champion in the shot put. I think he's kind of old now. Let's say
he's 62.
Let's say Deebo when he was Deebo in Friday.
In what way is this guy a celebrity, and who found out who this guy is?
Deebo? You need to go.
Is he actually this is actually the actor?
Yes, Tommy Lister Jr. Yes, the actual actor.
He was in Friday.
He
was in Next Friday. He was a voice in Zootopia.
He was in Next Friday?
He was in Little Nicky. He was in Armed and Dangerous.
Let's so Hyrox Deebo.
It's 6'5", 300.
We got to watch Friday on when we're bunking up on Friday night. You need exposure to this man.
I've
because
been
you need to
watching a
summon
little
this.
bit of it.
Okay,
But
good.
yes, we got to watch Jake Paul, Mike Tyson also. So
Okay, great. All right.
What's just popcorn? Just popcorn and
I got Netflix. We can do it.
wow, you got Netflix?
Yes, sir. Don't worry about it.
6'5", 300. Rich, you're calling out the celebrity, so you get to set the line. Marcus and I will say the times.
Yeah, say this is like 90. Say this is 97. 138.
Under.
I like it. Dude does cardio, rides a bike.
I mean, maybe not by much at 300 pounds, but under.
The sled pull, he might be too
hand over handing.
That's what I'm saying. And that's it. I don't care how strong you are. Like if you're hand over handing, like that's a problem. That's going to be so if he gets on YouTube, checks out some videos, maybe he'll be all right. I think that's fair, under 138. All right.
Yeah. Love it.
How about okay, one more, hold on.
No, say we're gonna keep doing this. We're gonna bring more of these.
Okay.
Wait, these people are not racing though, right? This is just
no, they're hypothetical.
I thought it was gonna be like Matt Troy.
We did like Beyonce. We did like Beyonce. We did like Joe Rogan.
Yeah. Just how about O'Shea Jackson Sr., aka Ice Cube?
Dude. Are we gonna keep it at 138?
Let's see if I can find some physical stats on him. He seems like he's definitely a thicker man. I don't know how tall he is.
Ice Cube is 5'8", not tall.
What?
88 kilos. Can somebody do that conversion for me?
193.
197. Well, damn.
5'8", 193. That's a thick boy.
He's pushing that sled. Well. Cardio game might be tough.
That might work him. The sled might work him though.
He might be too good at the push. 135.
Over.
You think Tommy Lister? You think Tommy Lister can beat Ice Cube in a freaking Hyrox?
Seems like he'd have more heart.
Yeah, I don't think Ice Cube's got the cardiovascular capability.
He was a performer on stage.
Yeah, I'm going over.
All right, fine. All right, last one.
Joel Embiid.
Oh, don't even start with this. How dare you? God damn it.
Got him.
I'm not even going to entertain this. We're not talking about Joel doing a freaking Hyrox. Dude can't even play freaking one quarter of basketball. I'm not doing it. Tia, Claire, Toomey, or.
Oh, okay. This one is, dude, as the kids say, the block is hot on this conversation.
I got some water to throw on it though.
I've got everybody in my local. I've got everybody in my local CrossFit gym in my DMs telling me that Lauren Weeks' world record is on notice. And I'm just out here to say Tia Claire Toomey is going to do great. It is an absurd take to think that she's going to come in her first race and break the world record. And I've got data to back it up, but I want to hear what Deebo has to say.
Well, did we see what she's doing for her first race?
This is the water that's getting dumped on this.
Doing mixed doubles in Melbourne with James Newberry.
So lame.
So no. Yeah.
But all the CrossFit media will say that Tia Claire came in and qualified for world champs in her first race and make it sound incredible.
Yeah.
And that also is the race where there's an Elite 15. It's the first Elite 15 double. So I was really hoping she'd find a lady to team up with.
If she would just have
Christy Aramo.
Well, someone even down there, the Maddie Sturt.
Madeline another CrossFit. I'm sure that I would assume they'd probably have a very good shot.
For sure. I mean, what are those? Are there 6 really strong Hyrox athletes in either gender in APAC right now? Like, yeah. Not to throw shade, but I am. So
all right, so let's do the thought exercise then. So we've got Tia Claire Toomey, who is unlike past men's CrossFit male athletes who have taken on the challenge after they were beyond CrossFit at that point. So fair to say they probably weren't at the top of their game. Tia Claire Toomey is at the top of the game. I mean, what is she, a 6-time games champion? I mean, she is the fittest woman
7-time?
Yes, maybe 7-time. I mean, she is that woman. Like, she is her. So the closest thing that we've seen to it is Ricky Garrard doing a Hyrox in Australia last year, where he did a 62, which is very respectable. But what we saw was he dominated the stations, and as you might expect, he struggled on the runs, and that was the story there. So I'll set the line. The closest thing we have to it is Christy Aramo, who is no longer competing, but was a high-level game. Like, how many top 5 finishes did she have? Like 5? 6?
Maybe only one. She had a bunch of top 10s.
Okay, top 10s. Very high-level games athlete. I believe she ran a 64 mid in Houston.
I think that's right. I think that's right.
Like 64 mid. So if Christy runs a 64 mid and Tia Claire Toomey is the greatest to ever do it, I'm going to set the line 61.5.
Over.
You take over on that?
I don't know. I think she has a lot of muscle these days.
She doesn't weigh very much.
Jeez.
She does.
Yeah, she looks jacked.
I think at the games they put her weight stats up, and it was lower than I thought. I thought it was going to be like 150 something. It was closer to 130 something. I think she was under 140.
I think the thing with all these crosses, they are very
5'4", 128. So Rich is right. Not as big as you think.
That seems
very
crazy.
Impressive
128 though. If
on
that's
machines,
true,
but this is an hour-long race. And I mean, look at the Rogue Invite. Like, we just watched that. Was the first event for guys was 20 minutes.
Yeah,
I don't know, a little longer for ladies.
I was gonna bring that up. She won. So she won that first event, which will kind of take us into the Rogue Invitationals. For those of you that didn't watch, event 1 was a 10 by 400. And then between or after every run, there was 10 different sandbags of different size and different weight. They would run their 400. They would come down their lane. They could pick and choose however they wanted to. They had to carry the sandbag back to the box, go out back on a 400-meter run. They wound up doing, actually, I think it wound up being 11 by 400 because they had to finish on a run.
I think they started with a sandbag. So it was 10 by 400.
Okay. All right. Yeah. So it was 10 by 400. Okay. So Tia won that event with a 20:31. So actually, I had a question for you all that kind of goes right to this. Meg Jacoby, high-level runner and probably the strongest athlete that we have in the Hyrox field. Conversely, how do we think Meg Jacoby does in event 1 at the Rogue Invitational, 10 by 400 with the sandbag carries? Over. How about this? We'll just set the line at, it looks like 5th place. So top 5, you had to do 21:37 or under. So we'll give 21:37 for event 1 of the Rogue Invitational. Over, under Meg Jacoby.
I think Meg wins that event.
I think.
You think she beats Tia?
She's definitely under. The only question would be, since none of us really know what the bag felt like, and if there was one of those heavy bags that just stops her in her tracks. But as long as that isn't the case, yeah, I think she would probably win it.
Meg's strong enough though that I don't think there's going to be.
It never looked like any of the bags really held them up that much.
I don't think there was like a 200-pound bag on the women's side. I think there may have been one of those on the men. So maybe the heaviest one that in the clean ladder, there was a 175, I think, at the last. And even then, I think Meg could pick that up and belly that, but everyone was putting it on their shoulder and kind of running with it. So I bet the heaviest bag that they had was 150. I think Meg handles that and is like stomping on people on the run.
Yeah, the scaling of event 1 didn't really seem like it passed the eye test. Like, they didn't slow up the women in the way that some of those bags slowed up the dudes. Like, there was that one that, like, I think Chandler Smith took the biggest looking one that was like a drag bag, and that looked like it caused him to labor a little bit. And there wasn't really any bags that seemed like they tripped up the women. So, all right. So Rich and Deebo say that Meg is winning that event. Deebo
My question is Deebo winning that event?
Let's see. What was the men's winning time? Was quick.
It was Ricky, who has a slower Hyrox PR.
Yeah, 18:43, 48. So Deebo, are you running 4K and moving 10 sandbags in 1842
The only
or better?
thing I think would give him a shot is that there isn't too much running in that event, but especially with a run to finish, I think I could stick with those top two, and I think I could outrun him in the end. I think
so
sandbags and really any strongman implement, it pays quite a bit to be bigger with them. It just makes it a lot easier to carry. So I don't think any of those would have held me up.
You're about Fikowski size, right? You maybe have an inch or two on Fikowski.
At least 2 inches, probably. Yeah, he's not that big.
I thought he was 6'1", 6'2".
Yeah, I mean, I guess in CrossFit, yes.
Tall, big dude out there, and he's probably like 210. I thought he was 225. Maybe he's
He
less
is.
than that.
He is. Yeah, he's definitely thicker than me.
And he was 5th, and he's not that good of a runner. Our man Sam Cornwallier, who Deebo just trounced in Hyrox, he finished 6th there
in Hyrox and 6th in that event. Yeah, I did text Rich after this. I think that shows we do not really need to be afraid of any CrossFitters in Hyrox for a while.
On the men's side, for sure.
Did that first event though? I will say the finish between Adler and Ricky was electric. Because Adler made a move, and I thought, and the announcers thought it was over, and Ricky came like a bat out of hell and closed him down. I think it was like 0.2 of a second. I've got it right here.
And he also had that where he was in a
second.
closer lane to finish. And,
yeah.
But yeah, that's why you always need a run to end the race.
100%.
And end the race. Rich has been out here preaching.
Ricky might be real world fast. Like he might, if we put him on like a 400 or 200, I don't know if he's running sub 22. But I think he's probably the fastest CrossFitter for like straight speed. When they did that sprint event at the games this year, it was like a different event for him versus everybody else. So I think he actually does have some turnover. He's a rugby guy, right?
Yeah. I think so. All right. So just to close the loop on that, and then we'll talk about the rest of the Rogue Invitational. So I remember, Marcus said definitely over 61.5. And then we got a little sidetracked. Rich, Tia Toomey Claire over under 61.5.
In her first time,
you texted me and you said you thought that she could be in there. Not necessarily beating the top, but she could be in there.
I think if Tia wants to run 2 races, she could qualify for the Elite 15. And without really changing too much, I think she could get on the podium, meaning 3rd. I don't think she has anything for Lauren or Meg right now. But the rest of the field, I mean, I don't really know. I think that they would have a hard time. She's
the opposite of Joanna, right? Like you said, like Joanna's just raw on the stations, but she can run. Tia is going to dominate those stations, and it's just going to be about how fast she could run.
And Tia's background is cross country and track and field. Yeah. That's what she came up doing.
And she's the 5:30 miler, right?
She did win, like that's pretty
at the
pretty
games,
good. Yeah, right. And if she's not 155 like some of these other women, like I think she would be in a fight for the podium right away if she wants to. It clearly doesn't sound like that's her intentions. It doesn't seem like anyone from CrossFit, their intention is to come into this space because there's so much they have to do in CrossFit to compete in CrossFit, right? Yeah. So I think it's unfair when people are like, and I think this was Christy Aramo's issue too. She's like, I'm not saying I'm coming in here to like win this thing. Everybody relax. And Tia's probably feeling the same way. Yeah. But Tia is so dominant right now. Like this is probably Laura Horvath is the best competitor that she's ever faced. And she basically killed her this past weekend. Like Laura beat her in 4 events, I think, which is solid, but Tia got 2nd in every event that she didn't win, except maybe like 1. So that could be just the absolute dominance that she has. It could be like, I'm not even going to really train for CrossFit. I'm going to do both of these things because no one else can. The way that she went after like weightlifting, the bobsled thing, she's gone out of her lane. And this could be something similar that she could be like, like this CrossFit thing's boring. Yeah. I'm killing everybody.
I was pretty hyped up. I was pretty sad to hear she's doing this mixed doubles. I would love to see her train for it and go at it. I mean, she could even this year just go to Barcelona, just do last chance, qualify through there. She only has to do 2 races. She'll be in the world champs.
That's true.
No doubt if she trained for it, she would make it. I don't think she'd win, but I think she would do very well.
Well, let's start there then on the women. Top 5 women, the Rogue Invitational, Tia Claire Toomey Orr, 850 points, to Rich's point. There was 9 events. She won 5 of them. She got second in 3 of them, and then she took 8 in event 6.
That was the silly one. That was
the
sprinty
dual
one.
4. Yeah, 5 up and over hay bales, 50-meter sled push, 4 power stair steps. So Tia Claire Toomey Orr, number 1. Laura Horvath took 2nd. Ariel Lowen took 3rd. Alex Gazan took 4. And then Brooke Wells, who is competing in Hyrox Chicago this weekend, took 5th. So, gentlemen, watching the sport, watching it this weekend, a lot of good events. What were your takeaways on the women's side?
I think there's a budding rivalry between Tia and Laura, and I was all in on that. Winning 4 events for Tia in a row and then 4 events for Laura in a row, even if the scores, I thought, whoever wins that last one, you could claim some sort of victory at least. So I was sort of cheering for Laura. I liked Laura hating on the U.S.
She did? What'd she say?
I think it was something about the fans and how the U.S. could learn from them and how they support the athletes or something. It was pretty good. She seemed pretty angry all weekend.
She did.
But yeah, I think it was also a bummer
Turns
that Gabby
out,
got out.
competing angry. Maybe I need to get real pissed off on Saturday. Works for Deebo. Works
Still
for
got
Laura
second.
Horvath. Just
Still got second.
Pissed.
The what if they just did like match play, like Tia and Laura, and that was like how they did the games this year, all this other stuff? Because the reason Laura, it wasn't closer, like there was a couple of events where she didn't get second, but she can beat Tia. Or what if someone just like paid for that, like something outside of CrossFit, like if it was like a Wadapalooza or something?
Red Bull.
Yep.
Red Bull throws a ton of money out here.
Yeah.
Red Bull, do a 1-on-1 pay-per-view.
500 grand for whoever wins. Yeah,
I mean, it's kind of like Hyrox, right? I mean, you've got like, in no disrespect to the other women competitors in CrossFit or Hyrox, but in Hyrox, it is Lauren Weeks and it is Meg Jacoby, and then there is a cliff between everybody else. In CrossFit, it is Tia Claire Toomey and it is Laura Horvath, and it is not even close. Tia had 850 points on the weekend. Laura had 790 points. Ariel was 3rd with 570 points. Like, if you just look at the leaderboard, everybody was just kind of all over the place, with the exception of Gabriella, who got hurt. So she had 3 DNFs. She actually, it is probably worth mentioning, she probably would have been 3rd if not for that, because she had 2 2s, a 3, and a 4, and she was crushing. But outside of her, everybody else was kind of, they'd have a really good event and then they'd have a really bad event. Whereas like Tia and Laura were basically 1-2 in everything.
Yeah, so I mean, there are parallels there for like how dominant the top 2 women are for where it is in Hyrox, but Tia's just so good, and there's going to be these events, where what was event 3 where Laura? Oh, the handstand thing, right? There was a handstand situation,
the wall walk complex with the back squat. So it was Chipper 8642 wall walks, which they had to do. It wasn't just
wall walks and 2 wall facing
and push-ups. Yeah, handstand
2 wall facing handstand push-ups.
And then the women had to go, and I believe it was 260 pound back squat.
And like, as long as there's an event that has handstand push-ups in it, Laura Horvath will never beat Tia Claire Toomey in a CrossFit event, a CrossFit like weekend. But everything else, like, let's just go match play. That shouldn't count. Like, that counts for
Tia
that much
beat her
more.
by 3 minutes in that.
And that was essentially the entire weekend, right? She has a 14th place finish.
Yeah.
What do you guys think about how Rogue does the programming? Do you guys like that? Did you like the programming here? How'd you feel about it in general?
I think Rogue puts on the best show by far. It was, between that and the strongman, the whole setup they had. I was just listening to a podcast. They made a jumbotron for that place.
No way.
I think, I think the programming, obviously it's a little biased. It's not necessarily like a true test of fitness when your longest event is only 20 minutes. But for spectator value, I think it definitely is better than the games right now.
Yeah, I have to agree. I think that the Rogue Invitational is better events and better to watch than the games.
It's nice.
I love the duel.
Do you like that format?
They keep doing that. Well, also, I watch it after Like I wasn't waking up for that, so I watched it after so I could fast forward. I heard it was quite a bit of time in between the rounds, which sort
It'd
of
be
kills
so
it,
boring.
the
That just
vibe.
seems like the
But
case in general for CrossFit, that like they give it like they have 3 events in a day over the course of like 8 hours. It's like it just doesn't seem very spectator friendly. But
if you want to go back and watch it, make sure you search Rogue Invitational Event 1, Event 2, all the way through Event 9. Do not search Rogue Invitational Day 1, Day 2. To Marcus's point, you will have to scrub through 10 and a half hours of coverage.
And the dual thing, to me, I like this concept, but there's like only like one round too many. I feel like I'm like, oh my god, they're going again. Like that, I don't feel like they need to have that the one-on-one, especially when it was like doing this scary jump over event. I was like, oh my god, like can we not have people go?
And I'm like, wait, they didn't declare who won.
Like they just raced 1 second ago. Why they got to race again? Yeah, I didn't. The dual thing is interesting to see if like they're. I always look at these things and see like how could this work in our space. And I thought that was interesting about the first event, where it's like kind of pick your poison. You know, like do your run and come in and do whatever bag you want.
I made a sort of a list of things I thought that we could adopt, and I think sandbag carries would be a good, like in a hybrid style, just carrying them across. You know, it's going to be easy to judge. There aren't going to be anything like a sled where it really affects it. So that would be, in a potential test, I think a good addition.
I think so too. Or even like the sandbag cleans, the way that they do it, and move them with the like move them down the line.
And
that
although
it
got ugly, the up and overs that they used in the duel, I think could also be a fun thing in like a hybrid type competition.
Oof.
Just getting up and over a big old wall.
Just and keep running. There's just walls out there. Like we're getting OCR. There was a little OCR influence out there. And this is one thing I do like about Rogue. But it's still like CrossFit Games, borderline goofy. You know, there's stuff out there that is just like, why?
Yeah.
Like the snail or whatever, or they make them do something that's silly, and you're just like, what are we testing here? Rogue does a little bit of that, and I thought that they had for example, the big muscle ups. What do they call those?
Oh yeah, the log muscle ups.
Log muscle ups.
Where they couldn't really grab. It was like event 4, I think.
Yeah, it's like they're doing false grip muscle ups on a wider circular thing. It's like, I guess, I don't know how hard that is, but maybe it is cool. What do we think about the horse?
One of the Rogue, they had a biathlon in year 1. Do you remember that? They had to shoot. They skied and were shooting.
No way, really.
Yeah, go back and watch that.
See, that's too goofy.
I think ready for the unknowable. It is just a matter of time before we got fucking laser pistols, pardon my language, in the Rogue Invitational.
I can't believe at the CrossFit Games that they haven't wrestled yet. And that they haven't. Honestly, at this point, they're not going to.
Especially with the background that they have. I mean, so many of those dudes, like, yeah.
Go Ruck wrestles. I'm surprised they haven't wrestled. I think they made it through. What do we think about the horizontal pegboard?
My boy Fikowski killed it in one of his last events, so I was fired up for that.
That's goofy.
I think it's a little goofy too. It's a little too much like an OCR. Yeah. I was looking at it, I was like, man, if like Ryan Atkins could probably win that event, shit is goofy.
Especially, I don't know. I guess I didn't really understand it. So that the event that Rich is talking about was event 7, gondola. You do a pegboard, and then you would do 60 cal ski erg. It's a chipper, 60 cal ski erg, 60 GHDs, pegboard, 40, pegboard, 20, pegboard. I don't know. I guess like it just, every other event like made sense to me in terms of like what they were trying to accomplish, of like how they were kind of like attacking it just felt, watching it just felt goofy. Like, I don't understand what's that's testing. Like, I can understand handstands and things like that, like gymnastics movements, but like like coordination, I don't know. It lost me.
It's similar to I think it's similar to the first year. They had the pegboard at the actual games, and most of the ladies couldn't do it. Katrin just stood there, didn't even attempt it. And then the next year they come back, they bring it back and they crush it. I think like you want to see like the best athletes
standing there, can't do it.
You want to see the best athletes really excel at it. It's sort of when they're struggling and they aren't looking that good. It's I think it takes away from the race a little bit.
There's definitely a grip intensive workout with the ski, and then it's like grip, midline, then midline again, then grip, back to like so like I guess to 2 pieces. But yeah, too much like OCR for me to be like nice. So I thought it was
sick.
Yeah, I thought it was okay at best. Oh, but talking about the professor, clearly fit, right? Where did he end up? What was he, second?
Second, yeah.
Ended up second.
Yeah, so top 5 men: Jeff Adler 750 points, Brent Fikowski 715, Jason Hopper 670, Ricky Garrard 650, Dallin Pepper also 650. So yeah, but the professor is fit.
When are we going to see him? What venue?
It is
Hyrox,
crazy when you
Fikowski.
look at him. We were talking about how big he was. When he started, he was so like lean, like
Yeah,
probably 200 pounds. He's just put on 25 pounds of muscle. I think if he leaned out, his running never looks. I feel like people used to say he's a good runner, but it never looks that good.
He does not.
Yeah,
he
did not. I mean, the closest thing we had to judge compromised running would be event 1. He took 5th in that, 2009. He didn't look great in it, right? I mean, and granted, yeah, to your point, Marcus, like maybe he slims down. He was very similar. He was right in there with my guy Chandler Smith, who has taken on Hyrox doubles a couple times. I think Brent would have to lose weight and focus on running. I mean, if we think that, and I agree, if we think, Deebo's taking this event, I mean, Brent's 3 minutes behind. So, I mean, I think, we'll set the line. We'll give him the same line we give everybody coming in. 65, Brent Fikowski, over, under, Rich, go. Right now.
Like, what event is he doing? I had written down after I saw how fit he was. I was like, this, and he lives in, I think he's West. He's like BC, I think. It's like, is he going to come to Vegas? Does he take in like 11 weeks of running 65?
That's probably not enough time.
I'll take the under. 64 high, 64 mid.
I'm going way under.
Way under.
Oh, what do we say, Marcus?
I think he's probably got the conditioning. The stations will be good. I mean, you could still run a very fast time with like 5-minute Ks. You don't have to run incredible as long as you're stationed hard and you aren't stopping. I think he'd be, if he went for it, which I think he would if he's going to do it, I think he'd be close to 60.
And he could probably cut his volume by 75% and just like run. Yeah, and like run. The amount of time that he's spending is way less than what he's currently been doing.
Yeah.
All right. Are we going to see him? Where are we going to see him?
I don't know. We need to start an Instagram crusade for that. I guess. What were your guys' takeaways on the men's side? To me, it's, it's the top names that you would expect are still up there, but it is still, fairly wide open to a certain extent, right? I mean, you got the top 5 is separated by 100 points, which if you just look at the placings, everybody in the top 5 had at least one event win. Most of them had, actually Adler only had one event win, whereas Jason Hopper took 2 events. Ricky took 2 events. So, it does seem like it's always the same names, but depending on the event and how it's set up, like there are other people that could sneak in there.
I think Roman's done. I think he's just going to remain hurt. He's getting like hip surgery, right?
Oh, really?
Yeah, I think he's like hurt. I don't think we're going to see him.
It sounded like it was something that had been bothering him. He kept trying to push through and then decided, so it probably got even worse.
He's that kind of he seems like that kind of athlete to me. Like the way he competes, there's nothing that is cerebral about it. It's all brute force. I think he's just the kind of guy who's just going to go until he's just completely burnt to smithereens. I think he's done. He's gone.
I love seeing Jeff Adler on top.
I'd like to too. Yeah.
James Sprague won the CrossFit Games in 2024. I don't know if I would ever have considered him the fittest man on the planet, if that's what you want to call the CrossFit Games winner.
My man had pneumonia before this, though.
Yeah. I knew there'd be an excuse.
Pneumonia. He wasn't even going to he shouldn't even have come over. They like barely even talked about him. The camera wasn't even showing him. I thought they were kind of disrespectful to him because they'll like show like Medeiros when Medeiros is struggling.
I think. What do we think about my guy Medeiros?
That's your boy.
Two times. I mean, I like
That's your name?
Medeiros. I mean, my guy's Chandler Smith, but yeah, he finished in the middle. Medeiros is a 2-time games winner and a 2-time Rogue winner. And at first, those first couple of events, he looked pretty good. And then he hit, I think, actually the first 3 events, he did just okay. But then in event 3, that one we talked about, Braveheart, the wall walk complex and the back squat, he looked like he was surging. And then he basically hit the time cap. And then that was kind of it. And then he did wind up winning event 8. But is he gonna find his way back to that upper echelon, or do we think that this is kind of where he is now?
I mean, talk about disrespect. You have the 2 times CrossFit Game champion making a surge in event 8, and they didn't show him on the screen once. No, he fit I think his thing was always consistency. I was thinking about that one year was like him and Vellner, and it was like no matter what Vellner did, he would always just be right behind him. I don't know. It just seems like he lost step. He's not at the top and everything. He just has some of those bad events. I think he's had a great coach. I've been in CrossFit Fort Vancouver, where his coach is from, but I think it might be time for a switch for him. He doesn't need to stay loyal to the coach that he started with when he was like 16 years old.
Yeah, they all kind of do that. They all kind of pop around, and there's a lot to learn, you know.
Yeah, Deebo's out here switching coaches, dropping 57s. Maybe Medeiros needs to switch coaches too.
Maybe I'll holler at Medeiros. He's like, hey, man, come over this way. I got an opening.
Did anyone see before the Rogue Invite even started that Noah Olson did Ironman?
I can't believe he accepted this invite. I think that's kind of bullshit. Like this is a very coveted event that people go to.
I sort of thought the same, especially in event 1 when he already gave
no
up.
Like doing cartwheels, and he's like,
you could also it affected him. He basically got buried all week. Yeah, he got buried all weekend.
Did you see how fast he did the Ironman though?
It was like respectable, right?
It was a 10:58, a 1:06 swim, a 5:31 bike, and a 4:08 marathon.
That's like pretty good.
Honestly, better than I thought he did. He is so short and stout. That's
yeah.
I mean, he can swim. I think he has like a water polo background.
Pistons for legs.
That's true. That he does have that water, but he's so muscular. Like that shit can't float like that. But Medeiros, to me, back to Medeiros real quick. He like looks more fit than I feel like he had looked in the last like 2 CrossFit games. But I don't know what's up with his engine. I don't know why he's getting buried on these like grinder events.
Yeah, like that was basically the story of the weekend for him. Anything that was like engine related, he kind of just got left behind.
I didn't think that was his. I thought he was like fine at all that stuff, and you kind of have to be, right? Like that's like the base of all of this competition. Doesn't seem like his go is there. Is now he's like needing these skill events to keep himself relevant, like on his hands or something that's like silly. That's surprising to me. So I don't know what's going on with that. But maybe he's like good. He's won twice. He's chilling, man. He's 24. He's like retired.
Dude, crazy to sit here and think that we're talking about a 2-time games winner, a 2-time Rogue Invitational winner. He's only 24, and we're asking if he's washed. But I mean, like we also see that now, right? I mean, like it's like this is demanding. It's taxing. You can see how it affects these dudes mentally. I mean, like I will say that is the one thing about CrossFit that's probably is the most impressive to me is like the amount of training that these people are doing to be ready for the unknowable is insane. Like, and that has got to take a toll.
Their range is, quite. I mean, I went from feeling good after I watched that run in sandbag, like, oh, I could hang with these guys. And then I watched them do 365-pound back squats and wall walks and handstands. I thought I couldn't do a single rep probably.
Bro, I was out in North Sea Tiger. 18 or 16 ring muscle ups into 8 squat snatches. No, dude, that's a cherry picking workout CrossFit for me. I see that. I'm not even going in and trying to scale that. I'm just like, nope, zone 2 day. Looks like a zone 2 day to me.
All right, I got a prediction. I think in the next 5 years, Haley Adams will win the games.
Ooh, Marcus,
mark it down.
Do you think the games is going to change the way they program, or is she's going to get that good?
I think that it's optimistic that, like, you know, towing a line here in terms of like how to speak about the way someone looks, but she looked healthy, right? And the years previous where she was a competitor, she never was looking like she was getting stronger. And like it turned out like that she took some time to address some of the eating issues that have plagued her. And it seems like she's addressing those and is kind of on the upswing of that. And now when she gets through that, I think she's going to gain a ton of strength and she's going to keep her engine and she's tough as nails. And I think that when she comes through it all, she's going to be a beast. And what is she? She's like also like
She's
23?
22.
I was going to say
22.
she's
She's 22,
incredibly young
20.
also.
Yeah, she's 22,
So-
23, and she's
By the time
got
she's 26.
she's got 3 top 5 finishes already.
And was I not paying attention, or since when is Adidas in the CrossFit game? She's got that Adidas money now.
Was that what she was rocking? Adidas?
She's Adidas, and Laura Horvath was Adidas too.
Saw Laura Horvath popping on that Red Bull hat every time that
she got
would
Adidas
finish.
and Red Bull. Those are 2 good sponsors.
That's great sponsors. Yeah, I don't
Big
know.
time.
I don't know.
Big time. I like it. I mean, there's no
Heard it here
reason
first.
to think. I mean, there's no reason to think that she doesn't. But Tia's gonna have to. I mean,
You can't be here for forever. 5 years.
yeah, 5 years. What, Tia'd be 36? She's probably done by then, right? I
She
mean,
might want another kid by then.
there's also the question of like, to your point earlier, Rich, like what, she's got 7 wins. She's got nothing left to prove. Like how much longer? Yeah, how much longer do you want to keep grinding like that? So
Making money.
I think it's a good prediction. Anything else on the games? Any notable events that you guys found particularly interesting, or anything that you want to cover?
Since we've been watching CrossFit, we got a lot of Hyrox coming up. Who would you be more afraid of? A CrossFitter who trained for Hyrox, one of the top CrossFitters, with a good running base for 6 months, or one of the top triathletes that trains for Hyrox for 6 months?
Ooh, that is such a good question. Triathlete.
I think it's triathlete 100%. I think about the power those guys put. If they just learn the movements, and I mean, some of those, I mean, in Olympic distance, they're running like 29-minute 10Ks now off the bike. So
I've got 3 words for you.
problem.
I've got 3 words for you. Pelayo,
Mhm.
Menendez.
Exactly. I mean,
Menendez.
there's already been quite a few examples of it in the sport. And if real top level guys, I think it could be.
I just think
crazy.
it would take, I think realistically, you said 6 months. That's the qualifier for me. If you said 2 years, I would take a CrossFit athlete. Reason being, I think that I think as an example, if Ricky decided that he wanted to go in on Hyrox, which I don't foresee him wanting to do, but if he did, and he wanted to cut down on size, left some of the skills, and just worked on if he leaned out and worked on his running, I think that is someone that I would be afraid of. But I do think that it would probably take, I think there's 2 things that have to happen. I think they've got to lean out because of just how freaking big they are.
Major point of emphasis coming.
Aerobic base, and CrossFit is all about your anaerobic fitness, right? Like I just think that they're going to have to build that aerobic engine that a triathlete just has to figure out how to move the weights. And they're not going to be like, once Pelayo figured it out, it was over. Dude's running 57s, 56s. Like,
yeah, I think that's fair. And like, you use the term lean out, but it's really, they're going to have to lose muscle, which is not the same thing, right? Like it's very hard to lose muscle that way. And it would take a lot so I think that's the right answer, unfortunately. But like tomorrow, it seems to be like the CrossFitter, the high level CrossFitter versus the high level triathlete. If they're racing tomorrow, the CrossFitter is probably going to bury him. But 6 months,
like Joe Skipper, he did a triathlon, and he couldn't do the sled pull. It took him like 20 minutes. So
do the farmers.
6 months. I think.
I mean, same thing for Pelayo. First time, no disrespect to my guy Pelayo. First time he did pro, it took him 70 minutes because
he get a 7-minute pull. Yeah.
Yeah. But then he figured it out, and he's high 50s. So all right, we are up against it. Any final thoughts on the Rogue Invitational? Any fun hypotheticals? Otherwise, as Bill Belichick says, we're on to Chicago, where the rubber meets the road, the trash talk becomes reality, and we are going to see, who's going to win? Is it going to be Obi-Wan, or is it going to be Anakin?
Man, Deebo's coming. We're hanging out. He forced me to split the room with him so he can keep getting points. He was like, "Hey, it's cool, man. I'll bring my rice cooker. We'll hang out." I said, "Great, I'm there. No problem."
Rich will bring the sourdough and the coffee.
I'll just bring the whole setup. We're just gonna post up, man.
I've got my. By the way, I am bringing my V60 setup, Rich. So if you need a little Resolute for that 7:30 start time, you let me know. If you need that in your cup.
Are you driving in day of?
Yeah, I'm driving down.
I mean, we're not racing until 9 p.m.
Yeah, yeah,
So
for sure.
You have a lot.
I got that.
I got that.
I got that. No, dude, I got that mixed doubles. I got that
Oh,
mixed
that's
doubles
right.
action.
My bad.
Going for that work.
That's
12:30.
right? All right.
Yeah, 12:30. If you are in Chicago, please come and say hi. I will be wearing probably this hat when I'm not racing. Say what's up to Rich. Say what's up to Deebo. Come say what's good. Love to talk to you. Any final thoughts, gentlemen?
That's it. That's all. I don't see that how real life Deebo could beat Ice Cube in a Hyrox. I think you guys are crazy. But everything else you said, I agree with.
Deebo?
Can't wait.
All right. That's it. Race Brain Hyrox out.
Later.